In a shocking revelation, 3 consecutive shops on a single street have closed down. Why is this happening?
One shop closes, then 2, then 3. So many businesses on this street are shutting down. Is it because the weather is too cold to continue operating?
This video also reveals the harsh reality of Wuxi's commercial streets, where over half the shops have closed down.
This area used to be highly sought after, with rents starting at 100,000 yuan and small shops selling for 200,000 yuan. Now they can't even rent them out for 20,000 yuan. Landlords initially bought these small shops for 2 million yuan each. The main reason is the poor overall environment. Consumer spending has decreased, leading to fewer shop openings. It is a vicious cycle. Additionally, many factories have no orders. Workers have gone home for the new year, and the streets are empty.
The blogger mentioned that this year they visited over 1,000 shops, and not a single owner said business was good. The turnover is not even half of what it used to be, operating at a loss every day, leading to severe financial strain.
One shop up for transfer, then 2. Look, both of these restaurants are up for transfer. We used to say that restaurants are stable because every industry is impacted by online competition. Restaurants, being a necessity, were relatively safe, but now even they are struggling.
This is Huishan District's Dream City, located near the Wu Culture Park in Wuxi's Huishan District. It was completed in 2017. Once a popular commercial area heavily promoted by the media, it now faces a large number of shop closures. Here is the Xishan District's Dongting area of Wuxi, a once popular region. Even the Bubugao Plaza, operational for only about 2.5 years, faces a survival crisis with many shops closing. Bubugao Plaza enjoys an ideal location, nestled amidst densely populated residential areas and exuding a vibrant, lively ambiance. Located next to the Line 2 Dongting subway station and near the busy Shilu Road, it's also close to Wuxi's first Longhu Heaven Street, which is currently under construction. However, these advantageous conditions couldn't reverse the fate of numerous shop closures. Not just the commercial areas, but even the bustling Wuxi Central Station is desolate. Wuxi Central Station is a major transportation hub for high-speed rail, trains, and the subway, typically serving around 35,000 passengers daily. Recent updates suggest that since the beginning of December, more than 10 stores near the northern exit of Wuxi Central Station have been closed, showing little to no regular business activity, resulting in an unexpected and unusual scene. Some netizens noted that these shops, including McDonald's, FamilyMart, and Starbucks, haven't been operating normally for a month. Rumors suggest it might be due to a commercial dispute leading to a power outage. Some netizens believe that the closure of these shops might reflect the local economic situation. Notably, during the initial easing of the pandemic, many shops at Shanghai Hongqiao Railway Station also experienced temporary shutdowns. This has led to suspicions that there are signs of a nationwide economic slowdown, with Wuxi possibly not being an exception. Let's examine the situation at Wuxi's high-speed railway station. Despite high foot traffic, it's surprising to see that convenience stores here have closed down. What could be the reasons behind this? According to a blogger, the items in these convenience stores were priced almost double compared to outside. Besides the high prices, the blogger speculates that since the high-speed rail stations are usually connected to the subway, and with the convenience of ride-hailing services, people don't stay long enough to shop. But is this the main issue? This netizen seems to have revealed part of the truth.
This year has been unprecedentedly difficult. I have seen over 1,000 shops up for transfer. A few months ago, shops could still be transferred, but this month, the number of transferred shops has almost dropped to 0. Many shop owners, including those who are still operating, are very confused. After the National Day holiday, the crowds disappeared. Why is that?
The situation is also not very bright in Nanjing, the capital of Jiangsu province. The blogger in the video says, "I haven't been here in 2 years. What happened to the Grand Ocean department store at Xinjieko in Nanjing? Where did all the original merchants go?"
Why are the floors empty like this, with everything above the 4th floor completely vacant? This is the Grand Ocean. What's going on? A change in brands? How come once they move out, there aren't any coming back in? This is a bit frightening.
This is above Nanjing Subway Line 1, a long underground passage linking to Nanjing Mingwalang. Previously, this was Xinjiako's underground commercial street with many shops. Now they are all gone. Logically, this should be a prime location, with heavy foot traffic from the subway. So what happened? Some analysts believe that the widespread operational difficulties in commercial areas are still related to the economy, with people's consumption levels and trends being a key observation point. The man in the video points out, the long holiday in early October was meant to encourage public spending, but now no one is consuming. After experiencing 3 years of pandemic lockdowns, people have learned to lie flat. This has a significant impact on brick-and-mortar stores.
Many new entrepreneurs who started businesses this year quit after 2 or 3 months. There are also many who closed down even before opening. The current environment is such that consumers are lying flat. If you start a business now, isn't it more difficult than before?
Consumer spending is faltering, largely due to a continuous decrease in income. Bloomberg's analysis of data from Zhaopin, China's online recruitment platform, shows that in the fourth quarter of 2023, wages offered to workers in 38 major Chinese cities saw a historic drop. Average salaries have declined for the third consecutive quarter, falling by 1.3% year-on-year to 10,420 yuan, about $1,450. Recent figures reveal a 2.7% year-on-year decrease in wages for workers in Beijing, marking the fourth consecutive quarter of contraction. In Guangzhou, a bustling southern metropolis, wages have plummeted by 4.5%. Particularly in emerging economic sectors like electric vehicles, batteries, solar and wind energy, entry-level salaries have been steadily decreasing. A private survey by Caixin think tank and a business data company shows that in December last year, the average wage for workers dropped by 2.3% year-on-year to about 13,700 yuan. This downward trend has plunged the job market into a slump, adding financial pressure on residents. The sluggish job market also implies that residents might cut back on spending, affecting the entire consumption chain. This situation could further exacerbate deflation risks and pose greater challenges for the government in stimulating economic growth and maintaining social stability. In Chengdu, Sichuan Province, 23-year-old college graduate Joy Zhu told the BBC that of the 32 students in her class, only about a third have found full-time jobs since graduating last summer. Joy shared that in recent months, she has switched jobs 5 times, including working as a tour guide at the Chengdu Panda Park, selling hot drinks, and interning at a kindergarten. Not only is it challenging for ordinary people to find jobs, many end up with unsatisfactory wages, and employees in public institutions across China also face an uncertain future. Recently, there has been a large-scale purge of non-public servant positions in government institutions across many regions. Some scholars believe that the purge of these staff is a prelude to further cuts in public servant positions. Tight local fiscal situations, economic downturns caused by 3 years of pandemic, and increased fiscal spending have prompted this move to alleviate financial burdens. However, this has left many people, burdened with mortgages and car loans, in a dire economic situation after losing their jobs. As early as September 2023, there were reports that public servants in Gaochun District, Nanjing, the capital of Jiangsu Province, began to face difficulties in receiving their pay, with districts borrowing from each other. Jiangning District had to coordinate with the municipal government to secure the borrowed funds. Li Shui District also faced challenges in paying salaries. Reports also indicated that Nanjing's electricity consumption plummeted, with many power plants operating only half of their units. Design institutes had no work, and industries like construction, chemical, machinery, and automotive were shrinking. With declining birth rates and a steep drop in population, kindergartens and elementary schools faced mergers. Teachers, health clinics, and research institutions faced pay cuts and layoffs. The economy is set to regress by a decade, a scenario that mirrors the national picture. People are now holding tight to their wallets, reducing or avoiding spending altogether. Commentaries suggest that if such is the state of Nanjing, a prosperous city in Jiangsu Province, the difficulties faced by third- and fourth-tier cities are likely to be even more severe. The economic downturn has led to hardships in survival, and compared to the previous 2 Chinese communist leaders during the Huwen era, there is more resentment among the populace. Some analysts believe this could potentially hasten their awakening. Reluctance to spend among the populace has become a stumbling block in China's economic development. In recent years, consumer spending in China has been on a downward trend. Despite the continuous operation of the money printing press in 2023, injecting trillions into the economy, there hasn't been an effective stimulation of consumer spending. Why is this? The answer lies in the fact that the money is not reaching ordinary people. The Chinese government perceives distributing money to the populace as wasteful, and now wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few. Insufficient income among ordinary citizens is hindering economic growth. When comparing the income of Chinese people with those in Western countries, the disparity is stark. Dr. Antonio Graceffo, in his article for the Epoch Times, notes that China has the world's largest middle class, nearing 500 million people. However, unlike the affluent middle class of developed countries, 75% of China's middle class earns only $10 to $20 per day. Therefore, approximately 60% of the Chinese population barely survives on $2 to $10 per day. Xi Jinping and the CCP often boast about lifting 800 million Chinese people out of poverty. However, it raises the question of why so many in China still live in poverty. In reality, the CCP could have chosen to relinquish excessive control over society and the economy, transforming into a free nation like those in the West, allowing living standards to improve through the natural forces of the free market. But they did not make this choice, instead continuing to tread dangerously on the tightrope of an authoritarian regime. Currently, China's economy faces significant challenges. The Economist has explicitly stated that 2023 was a year of being bearish on China. The real estate sector is deeply troubled, corporate defaults are increasing, and stock indices have fallen below the lowest levels during the zero-COVID period. There's also the uncertainty of relations with the CCP leadership and major trading partners. Experts predict that China continues to face deflationary pressures, potentially leading to higher real borrowing costs, posing an economic threat. Despite the People's Bank of China lowering policy rates this year, and banks reducing benchmark lending rates to support economic activity, Bloomberg experts estimate that China's real interest rates, which are inflation-adjusted rates, have exceeded 4%, possibly nearing 5%. This is the highest since 2016. This situation arises because the pace of decline in the consumer price index and the producer price index far exceeds the average lending rate. The rising cost of corporate loans may reduce their investment capacity, thereby restraining demand and exacerbating deflation. Larry Hu, the chief economist for Greater China at Macquarie Group, commented, "China's real interest rates are quite high and still rising." He notes that high interest rates not only keep corporate borrowing costs high, but also mean residents are more inclined to save, which is detrimental to economic development. Some economists believe that this deflationary pressure could persist throughout 2024. According to the World Bank, China's economic growth is expected to slow down next year, dropping from this year's 5.2% to 4.5%. The World Bank report highlights that China's economic recovery remains fragile, hampered by the woes of the real estate sector and weakened global demand for Chinese products. Together with high debt levels and unstable consumer confidence, the prolonged slump in the real estate industry is poised to impact a broader range and further squeeze the already troubled finances of local governments. The report emphasizes that real estate investment in China has declined by 18% over the past 2 years, necessitating more government measures to address the mounting debts of real estate developers. Presently, a disheartening financial atmosphere pervades China. People have lost confidence in the CCP, leading to a widespread lying-flat phenomenon, outflow of capital, and entrepreneurs seeking refuge in Japan, the United States, and Singapore. Foreign investors are increasingly worried. A report by Forbes indicated a rare net divestment trend in China among American investors. For years, American investors' enthusiasm fueled the growth of several private equity funds specializing in Chinese investments. By 2019, these funds attracted up to $140 billion, mostly from individuals and pension funds. However, by 2021, this figure dropped to $93 billion, and in the first 10 months of 2023, inflows reduced to a mere $4 billion. Furthermore, a report from the Beijing State Administration of Foreign Exchange shows a significant outflow of high-level securities investments in Chinese stocks and bonds by the United States, which was once a norm. This suggests a declining confidence among American investors and a diminished interest in Chinese investments. US-based commentator Tsai Shen-kun believes that over the years, the CCP and Wall Street capital mutually utilized each other, but Xi Jinping's contradictory political and economic policies have alerted Wall Street to the risks. Their withdrawal from the Chinese market is primarily due to China's political regression. Xi Jinping's inconsistent policies and political maneuvers and economic measures signify that any source of capital will ultimately become intolerable under a regime that continuously causes turmoil. Facing the economic debacle, Chinese companies are also uneasy. Data from the Institute of International Finance indicates that Chinese stocks and bonds have experienced cross-border capital outflows for 5 consecutive quarters, the longest record in history. In the third quarter of this year, China's net flow of foreign direct investment turned negative for the first time, meaning China's outbound investments have surpassed foreign investments in China. Unfortunately, the CCP has been actively concealing these economic realities. It's well known that in China, doing anything that displeases the CCP, whether through actions or words, equates to illegality and may result in government intervention or suppression. In response to the ongoing economic downturn, the CCP not only fabricates statistical numbers, but now also strictly controls public opinion. Generally, at the beginning of the new year, economists and financial influencers would write articles or make videos forecasting the economic outlook. However, in today's China, economic predictions have become a forbidden secret. Economic analysts, scholars, and financial bloggers currently face a high-risk professional environment in China. Merely presenting factual statements, rational analysis, and data observations on the Chinese economy can easily result in them being labeled as sensationalists or smear campaigners. Alongside the risk of having their accounts banned or articles removed, they also receive stern warnings against crossing political red lines or making any statements that may be perceived as demeaning to the economy. Anyone daring to offer a differing view on economic phenomena risks becoming a target of the authorities. This climate makes free speech and objective discussion on economic issues increasingly challenging. For instance, Chinese economist Li Shunlei published an article on Christmas Day in Yicai Global, titled, "Is it easier to go up the mountain than down?" Looking at the economy from the demand side. In it, he described China as a developing country with a low level of income, citing survey data from the Institute of Income Distribution of Beijing Normal University in 2021, which showed that about 964 million Chinese earn less than 2,000 yuan a month. The article quickly climbed to the top of the Weibo hot search list, only to be removed and deleted the next day. Not only are scholars bewildered, but CCP officials also express helplessness. 6 Chinese officials, who wish to remain anonymous, told Bloomberg that, owing to occasionally contradictory objectives established by senior CCP leaders, local authorities have shifted their focus away from economic expansion to minimize political missteps. Jens Eskelund, president of the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China, stated, "At the top of a growing list of questions about the Chinese market is, what kind of relationship does China want to have with foreign enterprises?" Mixed messaging from the Chinese government only adds to the growing sense of uncertainty, further eroding confidence in this important market. These scenarios hardly contribute positively at the economic level, let alone solve the current predicaments. Commentator Yan Chuguo points out that the CCP is deeply mired in internal and external problems, urgently needing open discussions and balanced perspectives to correct wrongs and improve the business environment. Yet, paradoxically, the authorities have become more centralized and authoritarian, favoring loyalty over competence. Such backward steps are hardly indicative of positive developments.